Father Fábio, I have been experiencing tribulations in my family, and I would love a word of guidance. My parents, both are almost 80 years old and over 40 years of marriage. They are now living a marital crisis. She verbally assaults him with offenses and accusations. They are constant fights. He revolts. Leaves her alone even though he knows he needs care. She has experienced health problems and has a very limited view, and sometimes even talks about suicide. I do not interfere with their lives, but my mother always charges me that I need to fix him, that I have to change his thinking, and that I have to talk to him. Father Fábio, how should I act? Since I have no experience of marriage, what I have been trying to tell them is that they need to know how to grow old together, especially because each one's defects, the differences, existed since the beginning of the marriage. But when I say something, my mother understands that I am in favor of my father and vice versa. Thank you. May God bless. It's my daughter. It's really very difficult. Imagine, almost 80-year-old couple facing marital crises. It's complicated because old age is the time when we need to have a tranquility to say goodbye to the good of life, isn't it? I think getting older is you to make this awareness. I'm saying goodbye to time. I'm saying goodbye to life. I'm saying goodbye to the experience of being who I am here, materially as I can be. From the moment I start to create conflicts and let the difficulties plague me, I say goodbye to life. Now it is likely, my daughter, that the marital crisis is a process that has been coming from afar, right? It is not possible that differences have arisen now. The problem is that sometimes in old age, our defects are very sharp. I always like to say, look, at the age of 10, it's easy to change. At 20, it gets a little harder. At 30, the difficulty increases a little more. At 40, is almost impossible. So we have to be very careful not to crystallize our effects. Psychology calls this crystallization, right? What is it? It has become a crystal, and now is difficult to break. That's why, if you have the opportunity to overcome your defects today, don't waste time. It's more malleable. It's easier to deal with. You have more willingness to change. Because then, as time goes by, we are getting hard, right? So the time of change is the time of youth. I'm not saying that old people cannot be modified. They can, but it is much more suffered. It is much more difficult. And then our defects, which were not careful in their youth, tend to become a pump ready to be exploded in our old age. So how can we deal with the defects that were crystallized? Becoming aware of them. And the best way, Fatima, to interfere with the marital life of our parents is very lovingly proposing a conversation. And sometimes with really shock treatment, looking in the eye and speaking. Want to end life fighting? Isn't it time to start also proposing a little playful activity? Because sometimes old age, guys, it is missing. Lack of playful activity, that is. Entertainment lack. Do a physical activity. Have the opportunity to throw out of these energies that are getting accumulated. The person, at the age of 80, is needed to channel these energies that are often accumulated. I remember. Today we almost no longer have. But there in Ant, where I was born, I remember there was the Mothers Club. Well, what was the Mothers Club? A center where they collected old fabrics, flaps that came from factories. And there the women sometimes spent 2-3 hours in the afternoon. I remember my mother participating in the Mothers Club. They learned embroidery there. They engaged in craft work. And there they had the opportunity to do the purification a little, right? To throw away. Because manual work, it is doing very well for our head. And that is why he gets better, the one who has a habit. One who knows how to make a knitting, who occupies the heart and head. That doesn't have a vacant space, right? That's why crosswords are doing very well for older people. Because As we bid farewell on Path of Faith, we extend our heartfelt gratitude for your presence. Keep the conversation going by commenting below, liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel for more soul-nourishing messages.